Feeling really good. I think we had a really good preseason. I think there was a lot of learning, a lot of new faces, a different feel to the group, and I think we learned something about ourselves in every preseason game. Obviously, bullets are going to start flying here on Wednesday in a pretty hostile environment. I think we're prepared. There's a lot of unknowns. Playing in that type of, you know, stadium, the climate, and it's really interesting to go into your first game of the season to have so much on it. But again, I've seen a really steely group from a mentality perspective, and guys that are willing to learn, and guys that are willing to get better and doing all the right things. So, yeah, well, I learned that we up until the last game we'd given up the first goal, right? And the weird thing was is that we had a lot of control of the game prior to giving up the first goal. So it's just staying mentally tuned in for those moments. And then the last game where we got on top of it and then conceded three goals in a row, I saw a group that just never laid down, right? And so, like I said, there's going to be things that we're going to continue to work on as a group throughout the course of the year. But I've seen the extremes improving, the not conceding the first goal, and then when we do, fighting back to get in the games. And so that's the kind of mentality we're going to need as a group. And then just it's really about the relationships with the guys. There's quite a few faces, particularly in the attacking positions, that they're working together, they're eating lunch together, they're really forming a really good bond. So I'm really excited to see how it looks on Wednesday. Yeah, Diego's one of those guys. Javane has just now joined the group in the last probably 6-7 days and got some good minutes in the last two games. And then there's Phil, who will be staying behind for the Costa Rica trip, staying back and working with the Monarchs to get up to fitness and join us in San Jose. But those are really the main guys that we've had out. Everyone else has been available, and it's been great to be able to have so many players and play with two different teams in preparation for the rotations that we'll be having between the two competitions. Diego will also stay back from San Jose or from Costa Rica, and will meet us in San Jose. Hopefully, to give us some something. Yeah, well, again, I think we've been talking a lot about managing games, and I think for a group that hasn't, especially the front guys, played together for quite some time, it'll be really important that as a team we understand how to manage games the right way, because every goal against is important, and every goal that we score is important. And so managing the games, managing emotions. Again, we want to play the way we play, whether it's home or away, but understanding that we have an ability to dictate and control the game in a different manner depending on what our opponents give us. And so that's what I'd say. I mean, this is a really good team. This team won their last championship in Costa Rica. First leg is away, so we have to be smart about our approach, but we want to be able to play the way we typically do. Yeah, like I said, I think the biggest thing for me in these tournaments is the teams from Central American and South American countries. What they have a good knack of is understanding how to manage games, how to manage a referee in ways that either kill momentum or they get momentum on their side. And so for us, it's really about when we get to Costa Rica, we'll sit down and I'll talk to them about what that looks like. How do we go from we're not in the game at the moment, but we can now take control of the game, or the game's really transitional. How do we get control back, right? How do we disrupt transition moments? Because again, these teams, in Central South, they're great in transition. They'll always be great in transition. And so they're in a low block, and they go from that, and all of a sudden they're creating goal scoring opportunities. So how we manage those transitional moments will be critical to again both gain control of the game and gain control of the scoreline. Yeah, I think there's no such thing as a game in Central America without being physical. It's impossible. Uh, the, you know the, the field looks like it's in good shape from the videos I've seen. You never know. The weather might be an issue, but the one thing I'll guarantee you, it's going to be a dogfight. And so if we're not ready for battle, like real battle, it's it's going to be a tough match. It's going to be a tough match.
The last question.
Yeah, so we're going to do a little mix, right? I think there's going to be some new players that are going to be starting in this game, and there's going to be some new players starting in the game against San Jose a couple days later. And so what's really important for me is that we have two groups that are fresh as possible to compete the right way, but also understanding that we're not in regular season form. So going from a Wednesday match to a Saturday match and the travel from Costa Rica to San Jose, it takes a toll. So we have to really, as a staff, make sure that we're making the best decisions, not just from a tactical perspective, but from an overall health, thinking long term for the season and making sure that we don't lose 2 or 3 guys because we're putting them through the ringer in the first 2 games. Yeah, I think some of the newer players and newer faces have definitely surprised myself with their impact to the group, both on and off the field. Guys like Kobe Henry has done a really good job. Rafa has done a really good job. Sam Junkwa has done a really good job. Tyler Wolf has done a good job. The 2 strikers, Ari and Forster, have done a good job. So I think they've integrated into the group seamlessly. From a leadership perspective, Emeka, Jay Glad, Rafa, Diogo, Philip Quinton, another guy that stepped up in this preseason, although he's been injured these last couple of weeks. But for the first 2 weeks, his voice was present. He played with a type of leadership personality. So I feel really good about the new guys coming in and the guys that have stepped up into this leadership role. And like I said, I'm really pleased with how the preseason went. Given we had a lot of obstacles with visas and guys traveling to go get it midweek, but they came back and Forster played and Ari played really, really good in the last 2 games of the preseason. So I'm really happy with how that's all about. Yeah, I think it's pretty much those guys that I mentioned, and from the Academy Monarchs, Gozo's been doing really well as of late, and he's growing in the right direction. Really excited about what he's been able to do. But yeah, guys like Kobe, who came over from France, started at Orange County, spent a year in France, and has come to us, and he's been really impressive on the back line, playing any positions. Tyler Wolf and the guys up front have been combining really well in these games, and all 3 of those guys have scored goals. So I'm really excited and really happy for them in particular, because a lot of these, Tyler has come to us from Atlanta where he wasn't getting a crack, and now he's got an opportunity to get some real minutes, in particular this part of the bulk of the season in the beginning where we're going to need rotations, and he's definitely stepped up. Well, again, I think my expectations is always to win the next game. That's always the way we operate as a group, and then we use that game to really, think about how we want to move forward. The mentality of this group has been better than any team that I've been a part of in the last 5 years, and that often comes because you have a younger group that are trying to prove themselves, and so they don't rest on their laurels. They have no laurels to rest on. They're trying to make it, right? And they're trying to make a name for themselves and help the team. So that's been the most impressive thing for me. And what I'd say about this group too is the learning curve has been quite steep in that there's been a lot of information thrown at them, and they've been able to digest the information and deliver it in real time. So as far as your guess is as good as mine, but as far as my level of confidence in this group to be a very good team in this league, I have no doubt about it. I have no doubts. We'll get there. Because again, for me, football is all about the people. A lot of people think it's about the talent. And for me, the greatest talent is a willingness to learn and a willingness to be a good teammate. And we have that in spades.